Okay, guys, highlights from Wednesday's trading, GreatStockPicks.com live trading chat room. The first call I made today was XCO. I'll show you first of all, I'll show you the daily. It was gapping up above probably what, a month's worth of trading, up above all this stuff. All right, so that was interesting to me. And then on a 5-minute basis, look at that volume spike. See that big volume compared to every candle yesterday? So this had my attention. On this pullback right in here, I called it long at 734, somewhere right in here with a dime stop. Grinded for a while, finally got going, got through the high of the day, and ended up making it to, I think, 764. So 30-cent move on a dime risk, but really was never underwater. All right, also had some mentions like APKT, super beaten up on the daily, okay? Was looking for a bounce, and whenever you have something that, I'll take today's candle out of it, has this kind of shape and increasing volume, and then the next day opens, which was today, and you get straight selling again, this is a great scenario to try to catch a bounce using maybe 5-minute candles. And I suggested that in chat. I said APKT may give a nice turn on 5s. I did not take the trade myself. I don't like to trade 20 minutes in, but look at that. Probably 80-cent move in our favor on a buy above this 5 and a stop below this 5. I don't even know if anybody got it, but it was worth mentioning. First Solar, FSLR on the daily. I've talked about this in a lot of other videos. Nice strength, nice volume lately. Was kind of flagging again after a break of recent highs. I didn't even have this on watch. And then one of our members, Philip, typed in First Solar holding up well or something along those lines, which, you know, immediately set a light bulb off in my brain because I thought about putting this on Bounce Watch, which basically is a break of its early high, hopefully after an hour or so is worth of trading. This gave a great setup because you had a tight base, the high of day still to the left. I went ahead and made an official call on it over this base, 15.13, stop at 15. So you're talking about 13 cents risk. There's the trigger, and we got the high of day break, which I call free advertising on the new highs ticker. People start to see First Solar scrolling by, and they pile in, and they did. Took this up to 15.48. Now, that's not a huge move, but on 13 cents risk, and again, never underwater. It worked immediately for us. Some nice money there. Let's see, what else? BTU. BTU, this was actually very interesting, and I love the way it's set up. Okay, BTU looked like this. Well, let's go back. It was already on watch because the daily, I take today's candle out of it, the daily had this, what I call shape change. Everyone should learn this. I don't care if it's daily candles, 5-minute candles. If these were 5-minute candles, I would still be interested in a long when it did this. These are daily candles, okay? So if you loosely connect the tops of the candles, okay, notice that what I call the shape change right there. See that shape change almost straight down? Nice volume. This puts it on Bounce Watch for me. Anyone, if you've seen any of my videos or charts that I post at night and you see me type shape change, that's exactly what I mean. And then today you can see the nice bounce. Now, how did I call this for the chat room on an intraday basis? Okay, it looked like this. Now, put in a nice early high, but I like a bounce play to be a break of its early high in the afternoon or at least late morning. Okay, so I wouldn't have chased this here. Then it bounced and came up and put in a nice base. Okay, so at this point, I called it long over this base, 2167, 2154 stop. I might be off by a smidge on that. I'm pretty sure that was it. Anyway, look what happens. Instead, it goes down. I started to lose faith in the market because the market was acting a little squinky. It came down, you know, a nice touch of the 520 would have been a great grab there, but I wasn't that interested in buying a pullback on this one because coals are so beaten up that I really wanted momentum in my favor before I wanted to try it, okay? So then, this was when it got interesting. It came straight back up to that 2167 area, okay? But I wouldn't have called it here because it had just been running for 15 minutes straight. That's kind of a fool's game to buy a break of this high after a 15-minute run. But it did the perfect thing here, okay? Sellers came in, and this is when it became interesting to me. If these sellers fail, I've got a base break. I've got, some people call it a red bar ignored. I call it a failed fade because people here are trying to fade the upside move, right? Their sellers are coming in. If these sellers fail, I've got red bar ignored, whatever you want to call it. I've got failed sellers, plus I've got that base break and the high of day still to the left. Super beaten up stock. shape change on the daily. So a lot of things working here. And went ahead and reposted the idea, the 2167 idea again, 2153 stop, 14 cents risk. There's the trigger, a little hiccup here, and then was just, and look at that close. At this point, when it looked like this, I typed in chat, and this was near the end of the day. Anyone still in some BTU, this is a great time to sell. Whenever, and here's a lesson for any trader, whenever you're in a stock that gives this kind of shape, don't start looking at the daily chart, the weekly chart, the monthly chart, if you're day trading anyway. Don't try to figure out how high this is going to go. When you get this kind of shape in your favor, I always say never look a gift spike in the mouth. Should always sell. I don't care if you sell at all, but always sell some into that spike. Anyway, a real nice move in BTU. 2167 went to 2248 on 14 cents risk. DNKN gave what I call a potential final push down. You see the shape change again. It's kind of accelerating to the downside. This isn't as much of a shape change as it is just a pure acceleration to the downside. See that? Starting to look like a water slide there. Gave a bounce here. What I've been doing lately is switching to 10-minute candles, and that's what I did on DNKN. Okay. It's been given, and I learned this from backtesting, it's been given some pretty good low-risk setups rather than play with fives and get chopped out of it. Type this out as a tens idea. In other words, first break of a previous tens high. I like the fact you had the accelerating volume, accelerating downside, then you had a nice inside candle here. So the call was on tens, 34.38 if the next candle gets there, which it did, and your stop goes below this candle, 34.25. Which is what? 13 cents risk, and I sold into this spike, okay, in parts, in 3 parts as I teach, and ended up having to kill the rest at break even. Look what happens. The stop holds, and it does a whole nother leg higher. So anyone that took it and just left the stop work, which I'm horrible at, I'll be the first to admit, they say you're supposed to do that. I always sell into a spike and then put my stop at break even on the rest. But anyone who just lets your stop work, you got a nice second leg there to all the way to 35.07. Okay, so 34.38 to 35.07. What is that? A 69-cent move, I think, on 13 cents risk. I think I already talked about XCO. I'm not even positive if I did, because I just made 2 videos. I made one for the room as well. So I'll leave it at that. Now, someone typed in one of my videos, why don't you post all your trades? It would be more educational. That was about all of them, and I can show you why I don't. I won't do this every video, but like Foster Wheeler, I called over this FWLT. I called over this little base here. Okay, 1603. Worst case stop, I think 1594, something like that. 9 cents risk, and I ended up selling it for about a dime right up in here, or maybe right up in here. And it took hours. Okay, so that's really not worthy, and it's not really educational either. Foster Wheeler, I have this in a swing trade account as well, and it is interesting here. Down near October lows, okay, and super beaten up. Not a lot of debt, a lot of cash, a lot of backlog. So construction engineering firm, and it looks pretty good for maybe a multi-day bounce here. And I have this in my swing account, but for a day trade, I thought I would get a better bounce and just didn't, and I went flat in my account there. Trying to see if there's anything else that's worth even talking about. MCP wasn't an official call, but one of our members typed in MCP when it looked like this. By the time I brought up the chart, I said I agree. If it breaks the high of the day, this one can get some momentum. And by the time I finished my sentence, it was already through the high of the day. So there's an example of something we were trying to get into, but took off without me. And that may have been all the calls from the day. And if I didn't go over XCO, I apologize. Anyway, pretty solid day. Tomorrow, you have tons of news. So tomorrow's going to be interesting. Tomorrow we have GDP before the open, jobless claims before the open, corporate profits before the open, and then also healthcare decision, or the Supreme Court decision on healthcare. So I am going to see if I can't go down to the big lots and see if they have an old suit of armor. In other words, I want to stay safe tomorrow, so I'll probably wear a suit of armor while trading. I was going to say a full body condom, but that's probably not appropriate, so I won't say that. But the point is, make sure you trade small and be ready for some crazy action tomorrow. All right, have a good night. We'll talk to you later.